As a young Nigerian American, what do you think is wrong with dating today?
Social media.
I
Oh,
don't
it's
agree
in
with
the
that.
social media side.
No, I think it's social media though, because
Social media does.
yeah, because it's just the fact of like, let's say I'm in a relationship, or my relationship is great, and I'm posting and sharing everything, another person wants that type of image. Whereas I'm posting, probably I have a problem with my girl, I'm posting something stupid or whatnot. A different group of people are going to suffer that type of character. So it's like, it's whatever you portray online, it's what other people are going to actually like follow through, because that's what some people like, some people don't like, but that's what they really want, you know.
I feel like using social media is kind of an excuse because at the end of the day, social media is what you put on there. It can be as fake as you want it to be or as real as you want it to be. And honestly, if you're in a real relationship with a real human being, then social media shouldn't necessarily change how your relationship is. If you're posting and people have things to do or things to say, that's their business. As long as it's not affecting your relationship or how you view your partner, then it shouldn't matter.
It's also based on what you follow too. You have the choice to follow whatever you want. So if you're seeing stuff like and start comparing yourself to and your situation to others, that's your fault.
There's an algorithm that puts stuff in front of your face. You don't choose that.
And it's another issue with social media. It's not just about like what you portray and what you consume. It's also the optionality of things. Like you could be talking to somebody or dating, and then you're just like, oh, I see this one fine girl, and things start to go a little bit rocky, and it's just like, man, people just give up too easily when it comes to dating. One small fight over something petty, like I understand like cheating or domestic violence or like abusive behavior, but it'll be like small misunderstanding. Y'all have a fizzle out, y'all fall out, and then people get bored and just want to entertain themselves on dating apps or social media. But I think another issue why I'm like, I don't necessarily agree that social media is the problem because I feel as if a lot of the problems that we have today were present before social media was really a thing. It's just social media amplified society and like society's norms and like how we behave as people. So I think we gotta focus more on our interpersonal interactions and not just like our digital presence and like how we spend our time on our phones and being distracted by other
I
options.
feel like a lot of us are just saying social media, which I feel like people not understanding. People are building their real life and characteristics off of social media. So yes, you may say social media is not the issue, that's what some people think, but there are women and men who act like they're on social media outside of social media.
You're heavily influenced.
Yeah, exactly. All the BBLs, all
It's social media influencing.
I think
Art imitates life and life imitates art.
Thank
You know what I mean? We already know that. And this is a prime example of it.
Well, the way social media works, everyone's saying social media, right? But the way the algorithm works is the more things you're interested in looking at, the more the algorithm pushes to you. So it's a personal thing.
It's a reflection of yourself.
Exactly. It doesn't have anything to do that is,
I don't know.
I'm a digital marketer. That's how it works.
It's true.
That's how
I'm trying to tell y'all right now.
If you like a bunch of pictures of cats, so if you talk
Exactly. It brings that to you.
cats is gonna come up.
Yeah.
If you like a bunch of pictures of girls with BBLs and nice
I think you
bikinis, they
should-
gonna come up.
I think you should take out the idea of being in a relationship and actually put in the sense of starting to be anyone.
Like talking
Yeah.
stages.
In the dating stage, the talking stage, the courting stage, whatever stage you want to label it as that's the real problem. Because yes, I want to talk to you, I'm talking to another person because I'm talking to you and you see that, okay, someone is posting that some guy is talking to you and buy one flower, one buy one pay free, one buy one that. And what I'm talking to is not doing the same thing. Stop comparing yourself. That's where that act of social media is. And it depends on the person itself.
And it kind of like, it's the progress of things. People see those things and it's like, well, why is it happening to me instantly? And it's like, your own situation is completely different. You also don't know what's going on behind closed doors for them. They could be receiving flowers because they just got punched in the eye.
Yeah.
Like, you never know. Like, so that comparison right there, like, is one of the biggest issues I feel like when it comes to dating. We need to stop comparing ourselves and really take the situations and not even situations, the relationships we're trying to gain. One, because those talking stages they've just been circulating.
Yeah.
They're not elevating. So like the relationships we're trying to gain, we need to focus more on that, the people, and learning who somebody is in general, because at the same time, you also will not know somebody right away.
That's the thing. People
takes
are like
time.
trying to force things
Right.
right away.
Love needs to be
And
so
it's
fast.
like you could be married to somebody for 20 years and you still getting to know somebody. Like that's what like
I think that's the problem is a lot our generation, and I say this very broadly, we don't actually know what dating is. I feel like we have overgeneralized and expanded so many things to where now everything fits under the umbrella of dating.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, I could argue that a lot of us are afraid of commitment. Because I would definitely say like this whole talking stage thing, to feel somebody out, how long should a talking stage be before you actually know like, yo, this is somebody I want to be with? Or even a step further, I would say we talk about sex. We introduce sex in so quickly sometimes and give this false narrative of intimacy. So then if that's the case, why do these relationships fall out? Because quite frankly, there was no foundation to begin with. It was physical pleasure, all right, cool. But then when you take all of that out, y'all don't know each other. Y'all don't have anything in common. And all you can do is make up for the arguments and everything with sex.
Right.
Yeah, but I think
That's
for
the
like,
thing, we're in a very sex fueled society. That's been present since we were like, even before, some of us before we were born. Since like the 80s and 90s, since advertising became more scandalous, more sexy, media became more sexualized, that became reflected not from our media to our own interpersonal interactions.
Yeah.
So you see things like, how college culture evolved and party culture evolved. Now it's like hookup culture. And I felt like that was kind of like presented as like an antidote to like the problems of like, us just getting married quickly and divorcing fast. But I feel like as you get older, you realize over time that hookup culture isn't it either.
And I think a lot of the confusion with like dating is like we don't come from a dating culture, right? Like Nigerians, like traditionally we don't date, it's courting, right? So now people come here and they're like, okay, I have access to this, I have access to that. It's not only Nigerian. Okay, and then you also have to match the styles of other people. If I'm dating Indian, if I'm dating American, if I'm dating Asian, it's gonna be different of how they date. So like this whole dating thing is it's okay. Like you're now in America, we're gonna have to adjust to like where we are. Like when in Rome, do as the Roman. So I think it's okay.
And I'm
So
happy
what
to
do
say
you
that.
think is the difference between courting and dating?
I mean, yeah, like I feel like courting's a little bit more intentional, right?
Yeah,
It's
more-
there
a
are
lot more
steps.
intentional.
Yeah, there are steps to courting. Like, okay, I'm getting my parents involved, and this
Right.
is intentional. Not just, oh, you came over my house, and my mom is here to say what's up. Like,
It's
it's
there's more seriousness to courting and the end goal is marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally.
Right.
I see courting as like an aspect of dating, pretty much.
I feel like courting is the second step to dating. Like when you start dating someone, I could definitely see how, because I don't really think there's much of a commitment when you're dating someone. It's like you're getting to know that person. You're friends with that person. Like you might also be dating other people to get
Right.
to know them. But then when you get to courting, it's like, okay, I'm with this person. It's a committed, like we are in this together. This is
Right.
a relationship. I definitely see courting and a relationship, they should go hand in hand. You should know exactly where you are. This is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend. And then you start to introduce the other members. This is my family, my friends, this, that, and the third. But with dating, it's like, it's more casual.
It's more
I agree with you.
Do you think the dating scene will be better if we just started off recording instead of
No.
No,
No,
because
no.
we don't know each other well
Right,
enough
and
to
that's what
start
I'm about to say.
courting.
I feel like because nowadays we have too much access. You have access to people in all across the world. I could be dating somebody in UK right now. You understand? Because I have all this access. I could be dating a girl here, there, and there. Because I have all these options. A lot of times, I can't speak for women, but I know a lot of times, like young men, sponsors have all this access to women all across the planet. Why would I say
and settle for one person? And especially like even also for men, I noticed that they've been sold like this, I don't want to say lie, but this notion that okay, the more women they get, the more women they have sex with, the more of a man that they'll be.
That's how we were raised. That's just how we were raised. Like we've always been raised like that, and that's not
And
something
it's
we
a
chose.
multi-generational
Exactly.
grandfather.
But I mean, at what point do we start saying like, just because that's how we raised, like we understand that that's not right? Like,
Yeah.
The problem is
At what point do we become self-aware enough to be like, okay,
Yeah.
well,
like
Yeah.
I
stop this
quote
pattern.
unquote saw
Yeah.
how my parents' marriage was, and I didn't necessarily like it because
Yeah.
that's not the type of vibe
I was gonna
I
make
want
that.
more
Yeah.
love. I want more this. I want more affection in my marriage because all of us. I'm speak loosely. I know a lot of us. We grew up. Not all of us had some. I know I didn't. I'll say I didn't have the best perception of like love and relationships.
Yeah.
So I knew as I got older, I knew exactly what I didn't want, and that was what propelled me to get exactly what I did want.
But there's
So-
two sides to that coin, though. I'm so happy you said that because you gotta realize when kids see something, they either become exactly that or complete opposite.
Right.
And a lot of some of them became complete. Like for me, I became exactly what my father was. My father dealt with multiple women. You understand? And I became that. But my siblings, or my older brothers, he's not like that. He's more of a one-woman kind of guy. He didn't like what he saw. Now it's just like now, thank God I found Jesus Christ. I came back around to the right side, and it's like one woman man. But
would you say that has to do with your perception and how you decided to become self-aware enough to know, like, all right, I have this lifestyle and I don't like it?
Right. And then there's a thing, I feel like
Yeah.
not enough men are really like realizing that. It's a two-way street, but not enough men are like, okay, you know what, it's time for me to settle down, it's time for me to stick to one woman. There'll be men shagging and dragging into their 60s, 70s, like they just always want to have a woman, like multiple, like
Yeah.
men need women.
Yeah.
That's a
I think
that's
And
I think
the
that's why many
title
men
of those
because of-
women are friends.
Mhm.
And it's like, who are all these friends you're talking about? Because what really is your relationship with your friends? Because me
Outside
personally, I've never found any of my guy friends like on that level of sexually attractive.
Right.
So, but you're telling me you were attracted to one of your friends, then that's not your friend, that's one of your girls. And you can be really honest about it. Like, but that's the thing, we try to hide things with other words or other scenarios and situations, and it's like, why exactly are you even in this field of dating or wanting to date if you're just going to hide yourself?
Right.
Or not be open about what your intentions and stuff are. Because going
It's the
back to
game.
talking, yeah,
The game.
it's the
and
game.
that's so sad.
The
We're so
It
quick
is
to,
the
or
game.
I don't want to say we, but a lot of Nigerians, Black people in general, are so easily ready to commit to a child than a relationship nowadays, and I don't understand that.
I think it's because of the pressure from the family. Oh, we want grandchildren. That's one thing, and I think at a base level, a lot of the problem stems from not being able to think objectively, as individuals. And it's like we don't take time to set a solid foundation to run off of, and like, oh, we just want to fuck, we want to bust a nut real quick, and then and we think we're loving, but we're having like a mirage version of love. And once you run off, and you run, there's nothing left to run off of.
It's like a coping mechanism.
Exactly. So there's nothing to run off of anymore. Now we're kind of like going in circles.
Yeah, not to move us all the way off the topic, I think like another issue that we're having as Nigerians, right, is that a lot of us some of us want these traditional Nigerian ideals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want the guy to spend money. You want the guy to take care of this. You want the guy to take care of that. Wait, no, but like, yeah, and also for the guy.
I didn't know she
The guys would be wanting someone to cook, they want someone to clean, they want someone to they'll just do anything in the house that they need.
Yeah.
However, sir, first of all, when we're dating, no one has married me or no one has came to talk to my father.
Like,
You know all of that.
Right.
We haven't reached that level.
And
You're
it's
not
like-
to judge.
And then they don't do the same in return. Like, okay, you want a man with money, you don't want to work, you don't want to pay bills, but I'm like, are you willing to serve in another capacity?
Yeah.
And vice versa. You want your girl to be at home, taking care of the kids, you don't want her to go outside, be outside, but are you willing to really be that
Yeah.
safe space for her, that provider?
I feel like that necessarily depends on who you're dating, because
Yeah, some people don't care.
there are a lot of young traditional Nigerians that have that mindset of, or they want the traditional lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are actually a lot. There are a
Me
lot
too.
of men that are like,
I haven't
Never
I
haven't
say
seen
it
it.
exists. I just haven't seen
Yeah.
it.
listen, when I was dating, the things that I've seen, the things that I've heard Nigerian men, 25-year-olds tell me as like a 24, 23-year-old, it was actually insane. And I'm like,
That's crazy.
Like, oh, she don't
Just
cook, she
dating.
don't clean.
and I'm
I'm
like,
breaking
no,
up.
I'm not, personally, I'm the type of person where all of that stuff comes out when I see that I can actually give that to you.
Yeah.
Because
Facts.
I'm the type of person, cooking is a love language for me.
Mhm.
So therefore, if I cook for you, it's like, all right, no, I actually see that you're gonna be here. I'm not gonna waste my time like I'm just dating somebody. Oh, tomorrow we break up, and then I did all this and I did all that, and I feel some type of way. Like I feel like that's how we have so many heartbroken good people who is like they put their all into these relationships, and it honestly wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, damn, dejected. And then we keep having these cycles of broken people getting into relationships, and then we keep having these broken people.
Yeah.
I say broken loosely, but like
Yeah.
damaged in a
Yeah.
sense. And it's
Yeah.
like, again, going back to it, when do we get back to being real lovers?
Yeah.
When do we get back to actually knowing the people that we're dating and fully committing to that person? Then give them that all.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a forced
Yeah.
thing like your first day. You're asking me, "Oh, am I gonna wash your clothes?"
Yeah.
Just come. It will come.
I think a lot of it has to do with personal healing.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, like, you gotta understand we are, or no, I'm not saying we are. A lot of people are a direct product of society and, you know, generational traumas and pain and damage that's happened and occurred in the family, right? And we take that and transfer that into our relationships. And a lot of times we don't take time to say, okay, I don't want to continue this trend or trauma that has been going in our family. I want to break that cycle. And I think a lot of it has to do from healing. We gotta heal ourselves, you know, in order to have a better relationship, a better friendship, and everything, or a better marriage in general.
And to piggyback off of what you just said, and I think what Ruby said previously, I feel as if, like, you know, a lot of us were raised in homes where it's like, oh, our parents were together, but they weren't really together. Like, they're constantly fighting, constantly competing with each other. So that traumatizes you. And, like, okay, it gives you an idea of what you don't want. But at the same time, just because you know what you don't want doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to have a vision for what you do want. So we don't even know how to get what we really want because we haven't had, like, a real example of that. Like, I feel like to an extent, like, and it's kind of, I guess it might be morbid to say this, but we don't really know how to, like, love and be there for each other as much as we really could.
Emotional
coming-
go ahead.
Coming back to social media, I think because people don't know what they want, because they see social media, they think that what they're seeing on social media is what they want.
Is what they want.
Instead of doing the analysis, like, what do I want for my relationship? Because some people, like, they see, like, okay, maybe, like, their man took them to Dubai for their birthday. But in reality, you know, you just want a chill weekend at the house. But because you keep seeing all these things, you're trying to, like, keep up with the Joneses.
And they be competing, they be talking down on people like, oh yeah, if your man ain't taking you to Dubai, you date a broke.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like we got business doing it first.
Exactly. And it's outsourcing or crowdsourcing their self-esteem.
Yeah.
You know, based on what they see. And it's like, it's kind of what I said before. It's like you gotta have like personal healing. And if you have like a good self-esteem, if you're coming from a healed perspective or a healed place, all that's not gonna move you. You know, exactly.
I think it's good to say that in general, like, when it comes how people interact with social media is a reflection of themselves, their insecurities especially. So it's like, if you have all of these insecurities that are stemming from social media, that's going to factor into your relationships.
Yeah.
So for myself personally, I feel like a lot of it really comes down after the healing part. Like, you really have to be a healed person, like, internally to deal with somebody else. And that doesn't even mean like dating and stuff, but all forms of relationship, family, friendships, everything.
Yeah.
And once that healing is like there within, you have to also gain emotional intelligence to be able to process how somebody else might be reflecting their stuff onto you as well. And you can't take things too personal.
Yeah.
I feel at the end of the day, a lot of things is comparison, also just setting too high, there's difference between expectations and standards.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have high standards, but I don't set expectations for everybody that I deal with.
Yeah.
Because you have to know the person you're dealing with in order to be like, okay, here's how I'm gonna approach it.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people don't do it like that. That's why so many of them are ending so quickly, because it's like, oh, I'm overwhelmed because so and so wants this, and that, but like, how exactly am I gonna do it? But it's like, whoa, take a step back. Is what so and so is actually requesting actually beneficial to the relationship, or
You
are they
need
just
dates who
saying,
they actually like.
right?
That's why I say a vetting system needs to be done. You have to see the perspectives, what's going on. Like, you have to ask these kind of questions, like, what's the history of sickness in your family? Like, you have to get down to what it is. That's serious. Like, you have to know, because you're having children with them, you know? So you have
But
to
there's
know.
also a point in the like, you can't ask that for everybody. You can't have those conversations with everybody, because
Hey, you can.
you can,
Not on the
but
first date.
yeah, but
That's
at the
weird.
same time, but if you're dating intentionally, that kind of stuff is going to eventually come up.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be. That's the whole part of rushing too. That I feel for me, like, you're asking me all these questions right off the grip, but it's like, whoa,
Imagine-
let's slow down, like, right,
Right.
first we
Like,
say
Imagine
so.
the first
Like,
date
y'all
night
can-
thing.
y'all can
I'm
laugh
not talking about
all the
first
time.
dates. That was that one.
Yeah,
But I never said stay on WhatsApp.
Okay.
I'm just saying vetting system in general needs to be
Yeah.
done.
No, but Andre, I do agree with you with the whole like you need to date people you actually like. Because I feel like there's a lot of situations where people are just in relationships just to be in them,
Yeah.
right? And it's like that's where that comparison comes in because you are seeing Shawty's going to Dubai every other weekend, but it's like her man is cheating,
Right.
and it's like all right, cool, like and it's well known,
But
but
we don't, they
They
don't
really-
care.
Right.
they don't care. But it's like me, like a lot of women want that, and it's like okay, I just want the relationship, but you don't know the person.
And I think why they want that more than like actual love and connection is because we're scared to love. Like
Yeah.
we've seen how love has hurt the people closest to us. So we're like, okay, like if I'm gonna put myself at risk of getting hurt, like I need to get tangible benefits in return from it. That's why this city girl culture has accelerated the way that it has. It's being sold as the antidote to dating when it's honestly pushing us away from each other even more. Like I feel as if social media has kind of shown like how divided like both genders are like now more than ever. Like constant echo chambers for women
Yes.
and for men. And people aren't really actually listening to each other and connecting with each other anymore.
And
And rather just hear shit that caters to their ego.
And going off of that too, and I feel like a lot of it too is also we need to also go back to more of not putting so much of our relationship on social media and trying to just show off pretty much. Like you really need to focus on what the relationship is and also trying to heal the relationships between like our parents too, low key. Like for the longest, I used to bring boyfriends or whatever home or whatever, and my dad would just be like, "Hey, what's up?" and then keep it pushing. And me and him never really talked about my relationships with my boyfriends, and I'd just be coming home crying and breaking up or whatever. And then now I go to my dad and we be talking about people, and I just be like, and it's so healing for me too to also understand, okay, I'm hearing you out, I'm seeing what you're saying, and now I can approach a little bit differently and better. And I feel like I've grown so much from that healing too.
Yeah.
And like that's a great thing, but I feel as if like we kind of get that type of advice that I really needed from our parents a little bit too late. Like it's not until we're in our late 20s and they're like, okay, where's my grandchildren at? Like where's your relationship? But back when I was 17, you told me to focus on my books, focus on my studies.
That also comes with, you know, the love part and being vulnerable with each other. You know what I'm saying? Even though, regardless of being too late or whatnot, being vulnerable with each other as a partner or as a family is a hard thing in the African or the Nigerian.
Yeah. And that's what's impacting our intimacy and our relationships.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Right.
Okay, okay.